Zaffa presents Widow's Revenge, written by Lynda La Plante and read by Amanda Donohoe. Queen of crime drama, join Lynda La Plante's Readers Club at lyndalaplante.com. The story so far. Following a failed attempt to rob a security van and a horrific explosion, 3 charred bodies are identified as Joe Pirelli, Terry Miller, and Harry Rawlins. Dolly Rawlins, Harry's widow, is left bereft. She doted on her husband for 20 years. He was a revered and highly respected criminal, and his death leaves her unable to face life without him. Then Dolly discovers her husband's carefully laid out plans for another security van robbery. She and the other widows, Shirley and Lynda, have little in common apart from their grief. But she convinces them to join her as they begin preparations to carry out the robbery that Harry had planned. Initially, the other widows think Dolly's out of her mind, but the lure of money encourages them to believe they're ready to go through with the plan. Dolly realizes they need a 4th person to make it work, a getaway driver. Amongst Harry's plans, Dolly finds an address for Jimmy Nunn and decides to pay him a visit. At his rundown flat, she meets Trudy Nunn, who has a young baby. Dolly had always longed to be able to have a child with Harry, but she tragically suffered a series of miscarriages. Trudy is young and nervous, and Dolly is shocked to learn that her husband, Harry, is still alive. Devastatingly, she also discovers that Harry is the father of Trudy's child. This terrible betrayal fuels Dolly's determination to proceed with her plans. This is now revenge. Bella O'Reilly comes on board as the getaway driver, and the 4 women succeed in carrying out the dangerous robbery. After the heist, Dolly hides the bulk of the money in a nursery school locker room, dividing it up into substantial amounts to enable each girl to escape to Rio. Dolly has outwitted Harry Rawlins, who cannot believe that his faithful and loving wife has proved herself to be an equally, if not more, masterful criminal than himself. Widow's Revenge begins with the women living the high life in Rio, all waiting for the right time to collect their money. But they are fearful that the dead man, Harry Rawlins, is going to come after them. Chapter 1. Bella had recommended Mr. Jarrow to Dolly as one of the best men in London, so Dolly had made an appointment. She was slightly taken aback to find 5 other women in the reception area also waiting to see him. It was more of a conveyor belt than she'd imagined, but she enjoyed taking furtive glances over the top of her glossy magazine and trying to work out what each woman was having done. In some instances it was obvious. The nose needed shortening by a couple of centimetres, eye bags could be removed, but she did wonder what the 2 women sitting in the corner were in for. Why bother with a nose job if your face was completely hidden behind a black niqab? At least their husbands would see their faces when they took them off, she mused. Husband. Every time Dolly thought of the word, she felt a strange tightening in the pit of her stomach. Been a long time since she'd referred to her husband. Mrs. Rawlins? Dolly was jolted from her thoughts. The receptionist, who spoke with a slight French accent, had a face that had obviously never needed any kind of cosmetic surgery. Mr. Jarrow will see you now. The consulting room itself was as immaculate as the waiting room, from the pale green carpet and the imposing desk to the perfectly placed antique carver chair for the patients. Mr. Jarrow himself was very good-looking, but he seemed a little too neat. Perhaps he'd had a job done on his own face. He was very quiet, his voice soothing. I'd like a facelift, Dolly said simply. I see, he said. A complete facelift, Mrs. Rawlins? Dolly nodded. He got up from his desk and came over to her. He held her head as he inspected her eyes and her neck, and his hands, when he touched her face, felt cool. With this form of surgery, he explained in his soothing voice, the stitches will be placed behind the ears. Your hairline will remain just as it is now. We will stitch here. He indicated where the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?